Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Brian sent me a note. Steve, catch this. Judge in the news in California. Aaron Leithley wrote this story for the Record. It's on recordnet.com. San Joaquin County judge arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence after Stockton crash. And this is a judge, a county superior court judge, was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence following a one-vehicle accident on Pacific Avenue near the Calaveras River about 6 p.m. on New Year's Day. A one-vehicle crash. See, if you're sober, it often takes two vehicles to crash. Drunk, you can often do it with one. No one was injured in the accident, said the officer who speaks for the police there. And by the way, I'm not saying the man was intoxicated. I'm merely pointing out generalities about intoxicated drivers. A video shared with Sacramento news outlets shows a dark SUV colliding with a barrier on the left side of the road. A closer shot shows the airbags have deployed and the front right fender is damaged. So airbag deployment also indicates some level of impact. The judge's toxicology reports are part of an ongoing investigation, spokesperson said. The San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office referred the case to the Attorney General for review to avoid any conflict, according to the DA's office. And that's a good thing. So if you think about this, there is a county, there's people who run the county, then there's a court system in that county, and there's a prosecutor there also. The prosecutor and people who work in the prosecutor's office are in front of that judge all the time. So when the judge becomes the subject of a potential prosecution, local prosecutor doesn't want to touch that for a variety of reasons because, one, it can look like they're out for the judge if they decide to press charges. And if they decide not to press charges, everyone's going to say, oh, they're just taking care of their buddy, the judge. They can't win. So you send it off to the AG's office, let them deal with it. So that was a good idea. This judge was sworn into the Superior Court in 2015, been there a little while. He started out in the county prosecutor's office in 1998, served as a lead felony prosecutor in the domestic violence unit, a gang prosecutor, and a supervising deputy district attorney for the family crimes unit, among other positions. So I poked around to find more information about this because that was kind of a scant article. So there might be some overlap here, but KERA.com had an article written by Kay Racine that says that this news of a judge being busted for potentially driving while intoxicated has been tough for families whose cases he oversaw. One woman says, my first instinct was, are you kidding me? Because his last name is kind of recognizable. Last name's Mulvihill. She's worried about what the judge's arrest may mean for her son's case because the judge has been presiding over a 2-year-old's death case from 2017. The boy's stepmother has been in court suspected of having some connection to that death. The San Joaquin County Court said, however, there's not likely to be an impact on the case because cases the judge worked on will continue to be heard by the court because cases are filed with the court itself and not with an individual judge. And that's often the case. They're basically going to say, okay, we'll just reassign these cases if necessary. KCRA visited Tuesday and found his docket had been cleared. The San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office said they have referred the case to the California AG's office. And of course, the TV station reached out to that office who said they could not comment because of ongoing investigation. And so here's the situation. And again, I'm speaking in hypotheticals here. But if I was a judge, and by the way, I don't know what's happening here with respect to this particular judge and whether or not the judge is going to continue to sit as a judge during the pendency of this action. But if I was a judge and I was arrested for something. I don't care what it is. I'm arrested for something. And there's a potential that I might be put on trial for something, or I may have to work out a deal on something, but there is a serious charge against me. I've been arrested with serious charges. I would step down as a judge, not permanently. I wouldn't resign from the bench. I would merely say, during the pendency of this action, I want to step back and I will not be a judge until such time as this matter is resolved. And there's a variety of reasons to do that. Not the least of which is, let's suppose you're a judge who's been arrested for drunk driving and you are convinced you've done nothing wrong. You don't think you did anything wrong. You're certain you're going to beat the charges. You're a judge. You know the law. So you go into court the day after your arrest and you're up on the bench. People walk into your courtroom. What do? They all look at you and go, oh, there's the drunk driving judge. Now, you might say, but Steve, you're innocent until proven guilty. You ain't the drunk driving judge. You're the accused drunk driving judge. Yeah, you are. But remember, we've talked before about judges and whether or not they do something wrong, which is impropriety, or whether they do anything that has the appearance of impropriety, something that simply looks bad, even though it might not be bad. And you might say, but Steve, you got arrested. What control do you? Well, let's assume for a moment it really was wrong place, wrong time. You were stone sober, 0.0. It's going to come out once all the tests are done, but for whatever reason, the tests haven't been handled, whatever, okay? There's still the problem that people are going to walk into the courtroom and snicker. And you might say, Steve, that's on them. They shouldn't be snickering. Tell them not to. I mean, seriously, they're going to walk into the courtroom snickering. There's the drunk judge. Now, if you step back and say, I am going to take a leave of absence here, whatever you want to call it, depending where you are, and I won't get paid, but I won't be on the bench. When the matter gets resolved, I'll come back out and do my job. And if you get cleared, where they actually come out and say, you know something, we ran a bunch of tests, 0.0, it was the wrong place at the wrong time. This guy is as innocent as the day is long, and he probably shouldn't have even been charged. If that's the case, you can then come back out, hit the bench with a big smile on your face, and people are going to walk into court and go, oh, that's the guy who was accused of drunk driving, but it turns out he wasn't. And that's a much better look. And I understand that some people are going to say, but Steve, if you really are innocent until proven guilty, and you know you didn't do it, you should be able to continue being a judge. No, when you became a judge, you understood that it came with certain baggage. And some of the baggage is that the job is bigger than you are. When you are on the bench, you are a judge, but you actually become, and this is something a lot of people don't understand, you actually become the court. So if you go to a courthouse that has 16 judges in it, okay? 16, any town USA circuit court, okay? 16 judges in that court. People address the court by saying, Your Honor, in this honorable court. And when the court issues orders, it says, this court finds. The court is actually this hypothetical thing that is not each judge is their own court. That you are simply part of that bigger entity, the court. And so when people walk into that court, if one of those 16 judges is in a situation that's so perilous that people come in and snicker and laugh and go, there's that drunk driving judge. That's a problem. That is a problem. So it gets to the appearance of impropriety. And the appearance, by the way, you'll notice that stepping it away, not actual impropriety, but the appearance of impropriety. There is an acknowledgement there that it might not be actual impropriety. Otherwise, they would have gone to that standard. They didn't. The appearance of impropriety, which means that if you're in a situation that looks bad, it doesn't matter what the real situation is. You have to ask yourself, honestly, does this look bad? If it does, then you've got an issue if you're a judge. If you're not a judge, knock yourself out. Nobody cares about the appearance of impropriety for somebody who's in some other line of work. I was going to name an example, and I realized no matter what example I name, I'm going to insult somebody. So I didn't do it. But the point is that the judge, any judge who's charged with something this serious, needs to step back and not be on the bench until it's resolved. If it gets resolved, then come back out. However, I would argue and suggest that if a judge got convicted of drunk driving, I'd have a real hard time with that person retaking the bench, because if they are going to then be hearing and seeing these kinds of cases and handling them, it's going to raise all kinds of issues. You know, it looks a lot like the do as I say but not as I do situation. But that's just me. And of course, as I'm I've mentioned before, judges are overseen by different organizations, different bodies. And in Michigan, for instance, it's the Judicial Tenure Commission, which answers to the Michigan Supreme Court. So if a judge gets in trouble with the law, it gets reported to the Judicial Tenure Commission, who takes a look at it and says, is this person still capable of being a judge? Or does this crime they've been convicted of disqualify them for being a judge? And then they make a recommendation and the Supreme Court acts. So as of right now, this is still quite early in the case. All we know right now is that a county judge was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence after a crash in Stockton that involved one vehicle and some sort of barrier that was really, really hard to avoid that evening. So there you go. Brian, thanks for sending it. Questions or comments, put them below those. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. What is a New Year's resolution? Something that goes in one year and out the other.